Put la sopa al lado. Ah. Me pegan con la chancla when I eat that because mi mamá no le gusta. Pues, ¿para qué compran? No quote of the day. Darn it. I forgot to actually put one up. I'll give ourselves another 30 seconds for people to come through. Everybody, please copy this in your notebooks. Let me write that down. You know what I just realized? No les toqué la guitarra. Let me just quickly try playing it. Let's see if I remember the chords. Ooh, I should let all these people in. Good morning, Fatima. Ah! Okay, I'm done. I can't. Not right now. Sa que no pueda, sino que no puedo ahorita. So, good morning, everybody. Today, we're going to be looking at a couple of things. We're going to be looking at drawing lines on a grid with a given slope. So, we're going to be graphing lines with a slope. And we're still going to be practicing finding the slope. So, I was looking at your homework assignments, and a lot of you feel really comfortable finding the slope. And I'm really glad. I'm really glad you can form the triangle. You can count correctly the vertical and the horizontal distance, and you're dividing it perfectly. So y'all are doing a fantastic job, but we're not at 100%. Not everybody is there. So I want us to take another day to just practice that, okay? So it's really important that when I call on you today, if I ask you for your opinion or your response or what your thoughts are, please respond, okay? I don't want to. I have this little notebook right here, and I'm writing down names of students who aren't responding, and they do get a talking points message. I'd be like, "Hey, señora or señor, your kid, your scholar." I called on them, and they weren't responding, so I don't actually know if they're actually in class. And then, just like Kathy was talking about, you get la chancla. Anyways, let's move on. So the vocabulary we have today is the same word we've been using, slope. Um, let me, oh, I didn't know I could do that. That's pretty cool. So it's the same word, it's slope. Just a reminder, can somebody actually type out the ratio? What's the ratio for slope? Does anybody remember it? What's the ratio? Okay, so you're using X's and Y's. Thank you, Kathy. That's what I was looking for, rise over run. Yeah, rise over run. Honestly, I mean, I don't know how much I can stress this. 30 years from now, when you're in your 40s, and you think about linear relationships, you're gonna remember slope. It's gonna be rise over run. So if you didn't remember that, it's fine. But say it with me right now. Rise over run. Slope is rise over run. Slope is rise over run. Rise over, run is the slope. Rise over, run is the slope. I think I messed up a chord. Say it with me. Rise over, run. Thank you, Carla and Kathy, for participating. Rise over, run is a slope. Ooh, ooh. Rise over, run is a slope. Okay, I gotta practice that. I'm gonna make a song, y'all. I'm gonna make it on TikTok, all right? So slope is rise over run. So let me actually move this out of the way so you can see a little bit better. Let me make this a little bit smaller. So take a look at these two triangles right here. In the chat box, please write down one thing you notice about the triangles. Everybody, please just write one thing you notice about the triangles. Can you put the, oh yes, gracias. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I even brought it up and I forgot. Ay, como me duele. Okay, I'll stop. The link for the Jamboard is posted. For this part, I would actually recommend you just post it in the general chat. Remember, there's no right or wrong answers. Okay, so I want people to see each other's responses. We'll take another 30 seconds for people to type them out. Thank you, Fatima, for being the first one. Actually, Andres was. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Miguel. Thank you, Carla. Thank you, Shayla. So, some of you put your thoughts in the general chat. Some of you did private messages, and I really wanna highlight some of those private messages ones because you're hitting it on the spot. So, for example, Carla noticed. What did you notice, Carla? One is bigger than the other one, right? So let me write that down. Ah, one is bigger. Bricia said they're both on the same line. They're on the same line. They're on the same line. And then Michael said one is a dilation of the other. Ooh, I'm just going to say they are dilations. They are dilations. Meaning it's the same triangle. It's just one is bigger than the other one. And you know what, Miguel, I know you sent me this as a private message, but I want to highlight what Miguel said. He actually said one is double the size of the other. P is 2 times bigger than Q. Okay, okay. And then let's see, is there anything else different? There's a P in one and there's a Q in the other. Yes, those are the names of the triangles. Perfect. So we've noticed a lot of things. And Miguel is super close to hitting it on the spot. So now, now let's ask ourselves, what do you wonder? So in the chat, and remember, please type this as a general chat so everybody else can see. So what is one thing you wonder about these triangles? What's one thing you wonder about these triangles? So to please take the next minute to go ahead and type out your responses. Oh, where's the end? Thank you for that, Andres. I wonder what the scale factor is. Thank you, Bricia. I'm actually gonna write some of these down. Any other things? Wonder how many times bigger the triangle is from the smaller one. Yeah, yeah, it's a similar way to state like what's the scale factor between them. Oh, oh, I okay. Somebody asked what's the slope of the triangles. And you know, some of these we can actually calculate. We can calculate what the scale factor is. We just have to look at the sides and see how many times bigger one side is compared to the other. And we can also calculate the slope. I think Miguel did us a solid earlier and he said it's twice as big as the other one. Miguel, can you actually unmute yourself and explain how you got 2 times as big? Miguel. Did Miguel DC? Miguel, you're acting kind of suspicious right now. Well, let's take a look at these shapes, okay? If we take a look at Q, what's the height of Q? How much does the height measure here? How many squares is it? 3. So this measures 3. What about the height of P? How many squares is it? You're eating cereal. What kind of cereal is it, Miguel? It's 6, right? It measures 6. Okay. So when it goes from 3 to 6, we can honey bunches of oats. That's a good one. When we start thinking about what the scale factor is, right? From 3 to 6, we think it's doubled. What's P? Oh, sorry. What's the bottom part of P? How much does that measure? Thank you, Enrica. Thank you, Shayla, Stephanie. 3. What about on Q? How much does it measure here? Go for it, Angel. It's not actually 2. I know it looks like it's 2, but it's not. From here to here, it's 1. But then notice how it doesn't go all the way over here. Yeah, Stephanie, it's 1.5. 1.5. It's 1.5. So this is 1.5. Now let me ask you this. To go from 3 to 6, what do you have to multiply by? Thank you, Brian. Yeah, you multiply by 2, right? It's doubled. What about to go from 1.5 to 3? What's your scale factor there? It's also 2. Yeah. So Miguel, don't worry. You're eating honey bunches of oats. Thanks for the invite. Actually, I'm gonna have this. So, son. I'm gonna have that for lunch. So the scale factor here is 2. So it's twice as big. But what's our slope? What's the slope for Q? So it's the rise of a run. What's the rise for Q? We already have the rise, it's on there. Right, the rise of Q, remember it's the vertical length? Yeah, Michael, it's 3. And what's the horizontal length of the triangle? 1.5. So the slope is 3 over 1.5. But what does that equal on a calculator? What's 3 divided by 1.5? Yeah, it's 2, right? If you use a calculator, you would get 2. Let's find the slope for P now. Can somebody actually tell me what the slope of P is? What would be the ratio? 6 to 3. Yeah, thank you, Andres. Or 6 over 3. And what does that equal? It equals 2. So these two triangles are dilations. One is bigger than the other. They're on the same line. And what happens when you take the slope, when you find the slope of each of those triangles? What do you notice? What do you notice? Can somebody unmute themselves and tell me what do they notice? No volunteers? All right. Tell you what, if you can unmute yourself and say to the class, what do you notice between the two slopes? I'll go ahead and send the talking points message congratulating you on stepping up and sharing out your thoughts in class. I know some of you are typing it, but I want to hear it. I want to hear it. Wow. Nobody's going to do it? All you got to do is unmute yourself and say what you're saying. I mean, say what you're seeing. Does it help if I call on people? Like if I just ask you to share it? Maybe I'll call on people for the next problem. But for this one, yes, they're both 2. It's the same slope because they're on the same line. Uh-oh. Please take 2 minutes working on these 2 problems. Take 2 minutes to write down different numbers that are equal to 15 divided by 12. And once you feel comfortable with that one, move on to the second question. What is another way to write the number 2? So I'm gonna give y'all 2 minutes right now to write these down in your notebooks, and if possible, just start writing them out in the chat box, okay? But first 15 over 12, okay? Thank you, Brian, for that. Somebody just asked me if the division symbol is the same thing as the fraction symbol. Yes. Yes. This is the same thing as this. It's the same thing as dividing. Thank you, Andres, for sharing your answer. Once you feel like you've done enough for the first one, you can go ahead and move on to the second one. Different ways to write the number 2. All right, I'm gonna start writing down some of the answers that I'm getting. Okay, one person wrote 15/12. Another person gave me the decimal representation. Another person wrote, this is the same thing as, is it 5/4? Yeah, 5/4. Somebody said 1 1/4. Okay, we call that a mixed number. And then one other person said 30/24. Okay. These are all different ways to write the number 15 divided by 12. And earlier this year, we were practicing going from this representation to this representation. That's called simplifying fractions. And then what's another way to write the number 2? Ooh, somebody said 4 divided by 2. Okay, somebody said 2/1. Somebody's being funny. They said 2.0. That's actually pretty funny. Yeah. So what was the whole point of doing this exercise? The whole point of doing this exercise, first of all, it's to recognize that whenever you have a division problem, you can write the division problem as a fraction, as we saw here, 15/12. But 15/12, you can reduce, you can simplify the fraction, and it becomes 5/4. And similarly, I'll say this about 7 times. The number 2 can be written as a fraction. And it's important that you recognize and remember any whole number can be written as a fraction. Let me write that actually, and please write this down. Any whole number can be written as a fraction. One second. The headset kept falling off. Any whole number can be written as a fraction. So for example, the number 7 can be written as 7/1. What about 6? How can I write 6 as a fraction? Type it into the chat. How can I write 6 as a fraction? Mhm. 6/1, yeah. 6/1. You can always put a 1 in the denominator. Denominator, the bottom part. Using that knowledge, let's take a look at the next problem. And let me move this a little bit to the right. Similar triangles. These are similar triangles. In breakout groups, you will find the ratio of the rise over run for each of these shapes, okay? If you haven't clicked on the Jamboard, we're on slide number 8. Just a reminder, ooh, ¿qué hice? Ah! Slope is rise over run. And you have 3 different triangles here. 1, 2, 3. For each of these triangles, you are going to find rise over run. And in your groups, once you find the ratio, you will have one person summarize your findings. So I'm going to send everybody out to breakout groups right now. Everybody, I think, knows how to screen share. So just have one person screen share. That's all you got to do. Just screen share this. And as a group, find the slopes for these 3 triangles. And then when we come back, we can talk about what we observed. Are there any questions about what we're doing right now? Okay. There's 26 of us, 24. Okay. Any questions before I put you on to breakout groups? Okay. I'm going to do 8 minutes. I think 8 minutes is enough time to have somebody share their screen. And for, as a group, come up with the slopes for each 3. Okay. Good luck. And then Noah, Honesty, thank you. Dareli, Angel, and Miguel, if you could please go to your breakout groups. Thank you, Miguel. Dareli, Angel, Noah. Thank you, Noah. Dareli and Angel. Wait, what? Oh, I got sent out. Angela and Dareli, are you there right now? Okay. I'm gonna type out the instructions in the chat. Maybe you're not there at the moment, but I am still expecting y'all to go ahead and do what you're supposed to do, okay? Hey Angel, I saw that you sent me a message. You sent a message to the iPad and it came up on my screen. You said you needed the link for the problems.
Yeah.
Okay, do you know where to find the link in case I can't send you the link?
No, I didn't check what it was because I joined to the uh, breakout room before I saw it.
So let me show you exactly where you can find the link, okay? So if you ever come late to class or if you're doing something else and you forget, you can always go to Canvas for math class, go to modules, right? And we're in week 3. Today's Thursday. And if you click on class notes, aquí salen las notes. So if you click on A, because that's who we are, you have all the notes that we're doing. What? Students only have 10 seconds to, oops. But anyways, that's where you can find a work, okay?
Alright.
For future references. All right. So thank you all. I think I saw 3 groups screen sharing. Somebody was screen sharing and then people were like either talking out loud or you were talking in the chat. And I do want to applaud and appreciate those groups. It was my mistake to not necessarily tell a specific person in each group to screen share. I think those 3 groups, somebody was just like, you know what, I'll take initiative, I'll go ahead and screen share. Um, but it kind of feels like not every person or every group feels like that. Some people need to be told what to do. So that was definitely my bad. But um, let's see here. So I want to do this. I want to hold each group accountable. So group 1, that's the group of Cristiano, Italy, Jenny, and Miguel. What was the slope you got for this triangle here, the bottom one? What was the ratio you got? And anybody can type it into the chat. Any of the 4 of you. Thank you, Italy. 3 over 4. 3 over 4. Right, the rise is 3, the run is 4, so it's 3 over 4. Group 2, the group of Andres, Jade, Carla, and Valeria. Look at this bigger triangle here. You're missing something. But what's the rise over run? Actually, let me ask you this. What's the run? Somebody in that group. What does that length measure? Thank you, Jade. Yeah, it measures 8. And if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now, group 3, the group of Bricia, Darelli, and Irista, what's the slope for the bigger triangle? What's my rise over run ratio? Thank you, Bricia. 6 over 8. 6 over 8. And last but not least, let's see, group 4, the group of Kevin, Stephanie, and Angel. So what does this side measure? What's the height of the little triangle? What's the measure? Remember, all we're looking at is the height. So if we have this height, what's the measure right there? Okay. Stephanie, thank you so much for giving me an answer. It's not quite 2, okay? So this is 1, but this is 2. So it's between 1 and 2. What number is that? Yeah, 1.5. So the height here is 1.5. And now, room 5, Belinda, Honesty, Michael, and Saul. What's going to be the ratio? Oh, I see Michael had already responded. Yeah, 1.5 over 2. 1.5 over 2. Now, group 6, you get the tough question. Fatima, Kathy, Enrica, and Shayla. What do you notice between all 4 ratios? What do you notice between all of them? They're all 2? What do you mean? Ooh, Shayla, can you unmute yourself and actually say that out loud?
They all equal 0.75.
They all equal 0.75. And how did you get the decimal representation?
I divided 3 divided by 4, and then 1.5 divided by 2, and 6 divided by 8.
Okay, thank you, Shayla. Uh, so Shayla went ahead and used a calculator to divide these numbers, and she found that they all equal the same thing. Isn't this what we did in the very first problem? We had 2 triangles, right, that were dilations of each other. We found the slopes, and it was the same. It just looked different. The ratios look different, but they're still proportional. The ratios are proportional. And this is true for any line that you have. When you find the slope, and it doesn't matter how you draw the triangles, as long as it's a right triangle. All of these red triangles that I just drew, I bet you $100 bajillion. If you were to find the slope, the rise over run, they're all going to equal 0.75. In fact, even this big triangle, And you can do it yourself. If you find the height, sorry, if you find the vertical distance and the horizontal distance, the ratio will be 0.75. We're running low on time, and I definitely want to give you time for the exit ticket. Technically, we did. This is what we were supposed to do on the previous one. Do I want to do this right now? Yeah, let's do this one. I think that's always nice to start early. Yeah, you can still see it on your end. Okay. I can't remember if it was Michael or Miguel. It was one of them. What's another way to write the number 5 as a fraction? Or anybody actually. What's another way to write the number 5 as a fraction? Thank you, Enrique. Another way to write the number 5 as a fraction is 5/1. You can always put a 1 in the denominator. So how do we graph a line with certain slopes? Watch this. Remember, this is your rise over run ratio. Our starting point is right here on 3. It doesn't always have to be 3. In fact, we can start at 2 if you want. It doesn't really matter. The rise and the run tells you exactly how much you're supposed to move so you can figure out the next point. So if I start here, how much do I have to move up according to my rise? Let me ask it better. If this is our slope, 5/1, what's my rise? Thank you, Andres. My rise is 5. So this means I'm gonna go up by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then what's my run according to this ratio here? Thank you, Shayla. It's 1. I mean, it's right there. It's telling you the run is 1. So we're gonna run 1 to the positive direction because it's a positive 1. So we go 1 to the right. Once you did that, you can go ahead and plot your point. Once you have your 2 points, oh, well, that didn't work. You go ahead and connect the points. And you have your line. How does this work? Well, in the past, we gave you the triangles and we asked you to find the slope. So you go ahead and count this distance And then you go ahead and count this distance. And then you write your ratio. Hey, it was 5/1. But now you're doing the opposite. We tell you what the slope is, and now you have to graph the line. So let's look at the next one. What's my rise for number 2? It's 3. So I go up by 3, okay? 1, 2, 3. And then what's my run? How much do I move to the right? 2. Thank you, Jenny. 1, 2. And that's my point. And I can keep doing this. 2 points, I can draw a line, but the more points I have, the easier it is to connect the dots. 1, 2, 3, because that's my rise. 1, 2. I have 3 points. Let's go ahead and collect them. Connect them. This is an introduction to graphing lines. And we're gonna do way more next week. But I do want to appreciate all of you for taking the time and effort to collaborate with your group members, because it's not easy. I was gonna give you an exit ticket, but I'm gonna leave that for homework. Instead, I'm gonna give you the homework as an exit ticket. If I can find it. So let me screen share. And a lot of you are still having issues finding like the assignments. Remember, you got to go to courses, click on our math class, click on modules. We are in week 3. And what we're going to be doing right now is the growth mindset. So I'm going to type that into the chat. I'm going to give everybody 1 minute to please click on it and open it. The reason for this check-in is to see where you are when it comes to mathematics. You're going to get full credit if you do it, okay? There is no wrong answer here. But I want you to be honest with yourself and with myself. So this assignment is just to see how comfortable you feel asking for help and engaging in productive struggle in the math class. The 5 categories that all of you will be assessing yourselves in are taking on challenges. So do you normally don't try things? Do you prefer easy work or shortcuts? Because if you do, you can label this as being a fixed mindset on taking on challenges. If you have a growth mindset on taking challenges, you would rather choose something difficult than easy, right? Because it pushes you to learn new things. Similarly, learning from mistakes. Do you see math mistakes as learning opportunities? And do you think about what you learned and what you can do next time so you don't make the same mistake? Or do you tend to forget about math mistakes as much as possible? And do you try to make excuses for them? Or is it more of a mixed? Asking questions, by the way, there's 5 categories and you're going to rate yourself on each of these 5 categories. Asking questions. Are you the type of person to not ask for help if something is difficult and you kind of just go with the flow? Or are you the type of person to ask specific questions on the topic so that you can understand it? Or do you tend to be the type of person that you might ask questions about something that you think you can do, and if it's too hard, you might give up on it? 5 categories, and you're rating yourself as either fixed, mixed, or growth. So the first question is, here's a rubric, right? So in case you didn't see it, here's a rubric. What type of mindset would you rate yourself on taking challenges? So you go back to taking challenges. Do you think you're growth, fixed, or mixed? And you go ahead and pick your answer. That's what we're doing right now, okay? Let me type in the link again of the growth mindset. When you are finished, go ahead and please type done in the chat box. Thank you, Fatima. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Irista. Thank you, Shayla. And if you finish the growth mindset homework, you can get started on the exit ticket because that is technically due at the end of today. Not right now, but at some point today. Thank you, Andres. Oh, I need coffee. I'm drinking coffee. How am I falling asleep? Thank you, Jade. Thank you, Brian. I just want to let y'all know that I do have office hours after my next class. So if you are missing assignments or if you need support in doing assignments and turning in quizzes or exit tickets, please show up. I had one student complete 3 exit tickets and now they have an A in the class. So, you know, my time is there for you. You just gotta take action. Thank you, Miguel. Thank you, Michael, Kevin. Thank you, Jade. Thank you, Brian. Nonetheless, please submit this exit ticket. Sorry, this mindset activity, and go ahead and get started on the exit ticket. But you have till the end of the day to finish it. Okay. Thank you, Bricia. Thank you all, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your 15-minute break.
See you tomorrow.
I'll see you later, alligator. What's the exit ticket? The exit ticket is on Canvas. You should be